Aaron Murphy for ESPNAmerica.com, and as always, my ESPN America podcast co-host, Dennis Maloney. And Dennis, we're going to talk a little bit about the Western Conference Final. Two teams that probably no one really predicted would get this far, LA and Phoenix. It even sounds weird to say it. The desert versus Hollywood, as it were. But the big story here, the Kings are 9-1 in the playoffs so far.
The Kings are undefeated on the road, and that is a statement in the playoffs. Basically, the Kings are on fire, and the game they played, they won it 4-2. The 2 goals they got, the Coyotes weren't even in the game. Basically, they just got shut down. And every way you could possibly be beaten in a hockey game, they lost. Every draw, all the intangibles, they just weren't there. And basically, the Coyotes are the kind of team that they have to have every guy firing on all cylinders because they don't have a group of stars that they can lean on. If some guys don't show up at each night, they all have to be there or they're going to get nothing. And I don't think they're going to get anything.
Well, you mentioned intangibles there. We were talking off camera. Dustin Brown, the captain of the LA Kings, 13 points in the playoffs, 2 shorthanded goals, 3 game-winning goals. He's winning faceoffs. He's blocking shots. Is he leading the charge right now?
Yeah, out of nowhere. I mean, it's like he's been, obviously the Kings just kind of snake their way into the playoffs at the very end, and then all of a sudden, they're the team of destiny, like we talked about last year. It's like they're going to win the West. I don't think the Coyotes are going to have an answer. I mean, they might win a game. I don't think. I mean, if the Kings play like they are, they're unstoppable in the West.
Well, that's a big statement. So I'm guessing your prediction is easy. What, you got the Kings in 4 or 5?
I'm going to go Kings in 5.
I'm going to say Kings in 6. I think that the way Mike Smith has played, he might steal a game for the Coyotes. And Shane Doan, I think, is going to have a big game. Bodker, Hansel. I mean, the Coyotes do have some pieces, but like you said, they don't have the big playoff stars that the Kings have right now.
Again, they have to all come at once. They have to all be there, and they all got to be in the game. They'll have to have the greatest game they can play because the Kings, I mean, you're not going to beat quick that easy. I mean, they beat them on that crazy red line slap shot, which just took them by surprise.
The wake-up call.
I mean, once that happened, it was like, oh, wait a second. These guys, they had no business being in that game. It was 2-2 at one point.
Another crazy stat. The Kings have killed 24 straight penalty kills. They haven't had a power play goal against them since way back in round 1 against the Vancouver Canucks. So, I mean, they're just looking dominant right now. And we'll talk a little bit about both conferences on the podcast later in the week. But for now, for Dennis and myself, follow along for all the NHL playoffs, including the Western Conference on ESPNAmerica.com, Facebook, and Twitter.